So how do you stop being a weak guy? And I'm not just talking about like being physically strong, but like having a strong presence. And the first thing that you really have to do is learn how to defend yourself. Not just physically, but also verbally. Because this really changes how you behave. Because think about it. If someone's coming right at you and you can't defend yourself, then your only option is to run. But if you know how to defend yourself, but you just don't want to pick a fight, you don't have to be afraid or even hide. This is why I recommend people, even if they're not a fighter, learn how to defend yourself, because your entire behavior changes as a person. And in this world, there will be people that will attack you for no reason because they had a messed up life. And for yourself, why would you want to go through this life having no way of verbally or physically defending yourself? And trust me, after you have trained yourself to gain the ability to fight back, you are not going to feel weak or feel like a victim. If you're looking to become a man that knows their way around the world, hit that subscribe button. Next is you really want to train yourself to do the hardest things first. Because if you see something that's really hard to do, and your first instinct is to run or avoid it, guess what's going to happen when you face someone that's stronger than you? That's right, you run and you give up because that's what you have trained yourself to do. And that's also what kids do, right? They hide behind their parents and then they have other people do the things for them. That's why if you want to be a strong person, you need to have a strong mentality. When you wake up, you have a list of things that you need to do. Tackle the hardest and the most important things first. Face it and really try to solve it first because this is very important for you. A lot of people, they spend their life avoiding doing the really hard things. Then they end up being like a person that's 50 years old with the life experience of a high schooler. Don't be that guy. Having a very weak approach towards life makes you weaker. Next is you want to spar. In martial arts, why do you think people spar so regularly and against different people? It's to keep you sharp. If you don't use the sword for a long time, it gets really rusty. And it's the same with us. You get weak. Except I'm not telling you to go and pick fights and constantly argue with other people, but you want to train yourself to always be ready in those type of situations. And if possible, have live practices, because we all know that books don't work in street fights. If you want to be able to verbally defend yourself, then you can start online. You can find different communities that really think different than you and just start friendly discussions. And get really familiar with the atmosphere of conflict so it doesn't intimidate you. Learn to hold your ground, not lose yourself to anger or insults, and focus on talking about the issue. Last is, if you want to be strong, you can't be a rock. Right now in this current world, things are moving really fast. If you're depending on something that you have learned like 4 years ago to stay relevant, you're going to have a pretty hard time. You have to really update what you know on a pretty consistent basis and not be very inflexible like a rock. Weak people use the same tactics from like 10 years ago, again and again, believing that it's going to work. So for you, it means don't just go into work and expect work to give you the training that you need for your life. Because usually, they're just going to give you the bare minimum that you need to do your job. You have to find ways to be able to improve on your own. You can find online classes on like Udemy or something that's like relevant to your career. Or you can look at what kind of requirements or certificates that you need to be able to get to the next level and really start to hone in on those. Because if you're standing still, you're actually falling behind. Because everything that you learn, all your skills, have an expiration date and it's gradually becoming outdated. So let me know in the comments which one of these points do you guys like, and I will talk to you in my next video.